Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ben Rama here with another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. And here we're looking at the current Elite collection that's available in the vault for Phyrexia All Will Be One. It is one in which I have most of the cards, so I do feel like I can speak on many of these with some authority, and others I haven't run quite so much. But in any case, this third and final Elite pack rotation is available now, so I'll basically just let you know if there's any cards in there that I feel are worth chasing. So yeah, let's get started. The first card we're looking at here is one that I do have quite a bit of experience with, and if you are not new to my channel, you probably know that I have quite a few videos that do actually showcase this card quite heavily, especially with Planeswalker Lillian of the Veil. In fact, I would say that this is the must-have card for her, especially when Xander the Collector rotates out of Standard. And even more so, because the mana field effect takes place pre-combat. If you have the Curse of the Veil tokens in effect, you will be able to play any of the cards that get filled up with mana that turn. So yeah, this is a really powerful card. I like it quite a bit. If you're a fan of Lillian of the Veil, I would definitely be trying to get my hands on this one. And just in general, I think it's quite good. Yeah, you do have the ability to give a toxin token to your opponent, and it mills 6, so there's definitely some synergy to be had with cards like Portal to Phyrexia. So you could mill 6 of your opponent's library and then start pilfering cards from that. So I really like this card. It's really fun to use with Veil Liliana, and yeah, I would probably put this at the top of the list. And yeah, I hope that if you are trying to get it, that you have some good pull luck. And yeah. Next up, we have Jin Gataxias Core Auger, which is a 24 cost Phyrexian Praetor creature. He's blue, legendary, has flash for some reason, 5/4. So despite his high cost, this is probably one of the more powerful cards in Standard right now. In a vacuum, he doesn't need anything else really to combo with, although he does have lots of cards that work well with him. Basically, he's going to allow you to fill your hand up every turn for free. And if you have the Tamiyo Vanguard, that effect takes place after the card draw, by the way, so that's an absolutely broken combo. But it's the second ability where your opponent has to discard every card at the end of their turn, no matter what. Despite the fact they do get a 2 point boost to each of their mana colors. Yeah, you can't save cards for conditional use. Basically, if you don't play it that turn, whether you decide not to or can't, then your opponent is discarding those cards. So it's absolutely savage, this card. I would hate to play against it. As more and more people get it, it's going to be much more dangerous out there. So yeah, it's this guy is an absolute game winner and would probably be one of the best cards in this set, I would say. So yeah, this guy is definitely worth chasing if you don't have him already. This one here, Phyrexian Swarmlord, is a 15 cost green Phyrexian insect horror. He's a 4/4 with trample and toxic 1. Now the cool thing with this card is its ability that at the beginning of your turn it creates X Phyrexian might tokens, which if you don't know, they have a stacking toxic ability, so the more you have, the much more dangerous it gets. Those cards gain trample. X is the number of opposing supports named Phyrexian toxin, including their reinforcements. So basically, as you're dealing toxin damage with your critters, your opponent will be stacking up those reinforcements, and then every turn you'll be getting more and more Phyrexian might tokens, which, like I said, it does stack up to, I believe it's Toxin 7. I could be wrong on that, but in any case, it gets up there. I think, yeah, Toxic 5 or 7 or something like that. Let me know in the comments which it is if you do happen to know. But I haven't played with the Phyrexian mites a whole lot, but when I have, they win games. So this is a cool card. I would like to get this. I do have the pinks to get him. It's the only one I don't have, but yeah, I'm going to see if I can pick this up in a pack in the meantime. As I'm, while he will be fun to play within some Phyrexian Might builds, I don't think he's necessarily a competition level card, but I could be wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments if you pick this guy up and are having a lot of good luck with him. Moving on to Urabrask the Hidden. He's a 10 cost, 7/4 Phyrexian Praetor with haste. He's also legendary. Now, right off the bat, I really like the 7/4 haste for 10. I think that's a good value. If that were the end of it, it might be as powerful as a decent uncommon or maybe a rare, but the fact that his ability enables all of your creatures to gain haste, but it also negates your opponent from utilizing haste. In fact, it really screws up token generation decks because it renders those stacks completely ineffective if it's something that gets bigger every turn because they can't attack and can't block. So yeah, this is a really good card. I call it aggro control. In the right build, it's a really, really good component to, keep your opponent locked down so they can't use things like Gaia's Revenge. And like I said, token decks that generate tokens every turn are totally shut down by this guy. So yeah, I really like Urabrask the Hidden. He may be a chase card if you're, into the idea of that kind of aggro control build method. But yeah, he's a really good card, and if you spent some pinks on this elite collection and got this guy, I don't think you would be too unhappy. So yeah, he's really, really good, and I look forward to using him more in the future. Moving on to one of my favorite cards in Standard currently is Xantcha Sleeper Agent. So I'll try not to spend too much time talking about her because I have featured her quite heavily on many of my videos already, but in any case, she's a 10 cost 5/5 black and red Phyrexian minion, legendary with bravery. So the gimmick with her is that irrespective of what Greg has on his side in terms of creatures, she will end up on his side, and because she can't attack, that kind of takes up a spot for an attacker, and every combat phase for your opponent, he will take damage equal to her power, or rather lose life equal to her power. So that's pretty cool. And even better than that is whenever any player activates a loyalty ability, including your opponent will take 10 to the face, or lose 10 life rather, and you get a card out of the deal with half of its mana. So that's very, very good. That ability is absolutely awesome. If you pair that with Dakon and use this first, you can actually surveil 3, and then the 4th card comes right into your hand with half of its mana, which is a total S+ tier combo, I think. She wins games for sure. I have a video where the only damage dealt in the entire game to my opponent was from Sleeper Agent, just to kind of prove a point. But she's an amazing utility card. So yeah, she's top tier. If you haven't got her already, I would definitely be chasing this one down. So yeah, I can't recommend her enough. Next up, we have Archfiend of the Dross. He is a 10 cost Phyrexian demon. He's 6/6, has flying and berserker. So when he enters the battlefield, he gains oil counter 4, and at the beginning of your turn, it loses oil counter 1. And if it doesn't have oil counter, you lose 15 life. When an opposing creature dies or loses a reinforcement, your opponent loses 6 life. So this is alright. I don't know. Like the fact that right away you lose 1 oil counter before he comes out because he doesn't have haste, unless you were running him with with another card to give him haste. So really, he's not around for many turns before he's starting to, take 10 of your life every turn. So there are ways around that, with the new Kaito Planeswalker, for example, you can send you can send creatures back to your hand and give them 10 mana. So effectively, you could just keep recasting him. But in general, this one's fairly skippable, I think. There are much better cards in this particular collection. Next up is Argentum Mastercore. He's a 13-cost artifact Frixian Mastercore. It's a 5/5 with first strike. And his gimmick is basically that at the beginning of your turn, you can discard the last card in your hand. And then what'll happen then is an opposing card with the greatest mana value value less than the card then you just discarded is destroyed. So basically, like, if you end up discarding a card that costs 20, your opponent, if they have a permanent that costs 20 or less, will be destroyed. So, you know, you're trading a card for a card here. So, you know, in the right combo, this could be a really good card. I have actually tried it a couple of times, and I still haven't quite got the hang of it. I think it could be good if you know how to use it properly. It does require more testing on my part, so I wish I could speak a little bit more about him, but you know, I think he's going to be one of those ones that ends up being a little bit passable, but yeah, his other ability is at the beginning of each player's turn. If your opponent controls a multicolored card, this creature gets +0/+4 and gains hexproof. So that hexproof thing is pretty cool, especially if your opponent has a multicolored creature. But like I said, you're going to be hopefully using his ability to take out Greg's permanents. So yeah, if you have a good card drawing engine with some expensive cards, yeah, you could be doing some really cool untargeted board wipe with him. But yeah. Alright, Capricious Hellraiser. This is a card that you may have seen already. It's a 16-cost 4/4 Phyrexian dragon with flying, and his gimmick is that at the beginning of your turn, if this card is in your hand and there are 5 more cards in your graveyard, it reduces its cost by 9. So it's really cool. You can get this guy out for a little bit cheaper. That's always nice. But really, this card is all about his other ability, which is when he enters the battlefield, exile 3 non-land spells or support cards at random from your graveyard. Those cards gain the Forge emblem. Pick one of the last 3 cards with the Forge emblem from your exile, create a copy, it gains full mana. So the short version is this guy is a looping deck facilitator. He will help loops out quite well, especially if you already have a loop engine that benefits from just being able to recast spells for free. So yeah, like Meeting of the 5 decks and things like that. You can, like, Blade Coil loopers. Yeah, he's a really good card. I believe there is an infinite combo with him currently with the exclusive Hello creature from New Capenna. I believe one of the other Magic the Gathering YouTubers, I forget whom exactly, I apologize for that, but I do remember seeing a video that showcases, I believe it may be Gaussmaster who did that. But in any case, yeah, Capricious Hellraiser plus Hello is an infinite loop, and I have a couple of short clips on my channel that also showcases Capricious Hellraiser, you know, bringing back cards like Over the Top and things like that. So yeah, he's a really good card if you're into looper decks, and yeah, he's definitely kind of in the I would say chase worthy category for cards, mythic cards, especially in this set. So yeah, I really like Capricious Hellraiser, and is, I believe, worth having in any collection. Alright, Sword of Forge and Frontier is a 17-cost artifact equipment card with 2 shields. It is colorless. When it's on the board, your first creature gets +8/+8, which is really good. And what I like about this one is the fetch ability. So you can pick one of the first 2 cards. If it's land, it gets full mana, and if not, it gets 5 mana. So that's just really good in general. Drawing cards, getting mana, whether it's full or not, 5 mana is nothing to laugh at. Although I do wish this had 3 shields as opposed to 2, because it is a little bit vulnerable to blowing up, and it does cost 17. So, you know, it doesn't make this card a great card. I do use it, and I do really like it. But yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily chase worthy. But in any case, I really do actually like this card. Um, as you can see, I have a little bit of XP in it. I have run it quite a number of times in equipment decks and things like that. But yeah, the +8/+8 buff is nice, and the fetch with mana, that's great too. So yeah, this is a good card, but probably not a great card. So yeah, take that for what that is worth. And lastly, we have Thrun, Breaker of Silence. He is a 13 cost, 5/5 green troll shaman. He has trample in his legendary. So he has the benefit of not being able to have his mana drained or raised. And at the beginning of your opponent's turn, if your opponent doesn't control a green card, this creature gains hexproof until the end of your next turn. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, this creature gains prevent damage until end of turn. So this is kind of a cool card. I've used it a couple of times, and you know, if your opponent isn't running green, you know, he's going to have hexproof. And if you know, you want to give this guy like Berserker or something because he has prevent damage, yeah, he can be a really good creature for you. It may not be the best of the mythics in this set, but there are far worse, I think. This one's probably a little bit overlooked, but again, it's probably because there are, in fact, far better cards. But yeah, he's probably right in the middle. Thrun, Breaker of Silence is all right in my books, but yeah, he's a little bit overshadowed by some of the better mythics that we've gone over in this and the previous two Elite Pack reviews. So yeah, that's it for that one. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it informative in that it will help you make a decision on whether or not you want to spend your hard-earned pinks on this particular Elite Pack collection for Phyrexia All Will Be One. I do think this is probably the best of the three Elite Pack collections. There could be an argument made for the second one if you're a fan of the Proliferate Escalate mechanic, as that one has cards like Inexorable Tide and Ichor Moon Gauntlet. But this one, having Jin Gataxias, Sleeper Agent, Capricious Hellraiser, I think this one definitely puts it over a little bit. But that's just my opinion. You know, let me know in the comments what you think, if you prefer one of the other early collection rotations to this one. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for tuning in, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.